right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for the last round of the Six Nations. This competition is absolutely flown by, and already we find ourselves in the final matchups, and this one to take the lead in the Six Nations competition. Ireland versus Italy. As you can see, it is a three-horse race, and we have the potential of 3 lead changes throughout the final day of the Six Nations. The Irish, they are in third, sitting on 14 points after the upset loss to the French last week. It means that they, no matter what, of course, need to get themselves to win up against the Italians, who will be at home at the Stadio Olimpico. But this Italian side, they've got a little bit about them throughout this competition, a bit of fight, and I do hope that it is a competitive game, although Ireland, of course, will want redemption from their last week's competition. Looking through at the starting lineup, first of all, for the Italians, Fischetti, Lucchesi, and Ferrari as the front row. Dino Lamb alongside Federico Rusa in the locks, with Sebastian Negri at number 6, Zuliani 7, and Canoni slotting in as the number 8. Pedrello and Garbisi make up the 19 combo, with Manoncello and Juan Inesio Brex in the middle. Then Montejuani, Capuzio, who had a fantastic game last week, and Tommaso Allen at number 15. For the Irish, they made a couple changes in their overall starting side. Andrew Porter, Dan Sheehan, and Finlay Bealham as the front row. James Ryan alongside Ty Byrne in the locks, with Jack Conan, Josh Van Flair, and Caelan Doris, the captain, at number 8. Jamison Gibson Park alongside Jack Crowley for the 9-10 channel. Robbie Henshaw, Gary Ringrose, no Bundy Arkey for this matchup. James Lowe returns to that left wing. Of course, he was the late exclusion from that last game up against the French. Some said he was the difference between that long boot being able to take place on the regular for the Irish, and in a game up against the French, you need people with those big boots. So they will be very happy to have him back for this match. Mac Hansen out on the right wing, and Hugo Keenan slotting in at number 15. But these are the results from last week as well. France getting themselves the big win over the Irish at the Aviva, 42 points to 27. Scotland narrowly beating the Welsh. That game was a lot more one-sided up until the last 15 minutes or so. And then the English having a good win over the Italians. That game a little bit similar to what I mentioned about Scotland-Wales, how we saw a bit of a comeback from the Italians, but still the English, they were too strong, and they will be playing the Welsh in only around 2.5 hours' time. We have got there, Hamish, what's Razor up to now? In what regard? I haven't seen anything about him over the last month or so. Hey, Hamish, says Tony, and welcome in. Hope you're doing extremely well. And France to win, says Matthew. And Morena, Hamish, kia ora everyone, says Matthew in there as well. So I should mention these were the games from last week. Of course, this week we have got this opening contest between Ireland and Italy. Then from there, it is England versus Wales. So there is a potential that England could go to first on the overall standings. And then to close out the day in France, it will be the French taking on the Scottish. I don't think I've ever seen so many people getting behind Scotland as a side. There's a lot of people wanting to see that upset, but the French are in the box seat, and that is where they'd like to stay at the end of the competition. Looking through at the recent fixtures for the Italians, they have conceded over 110 points. Well, they've conceded 120, in fact, throughout their last 2 games. They beat the Welsh, and they had a close game with the Scottish. So they've had quite an up and down kind of competition. Their last 2 games, honestly, they've played better than a side that should have conceded 120 points. They've had some great attacking moments, scoring 48 points. In fact, in both of their losses, they've scored more points than their wins. But it's the big factor, and we're going to show it on this overall standings as well, the points differential, minus 77. The bottom place side is still on the line here. So if they can secure some form of point in this contest up against the Irish, that would help them secure that 5th place spot. And it would mean that Wales do get the wooden spoon. For the Irish, they look like they were on song for a 3rd Grand Slam, or 3rd win in a row, I should say, for the Six Nations, beating the English, then from there beating Scotland, taking down the Welsh. All of these games relatively close, but then that one up against the French, they never really found their full rhythm in that game. Was that a raindrop? That is a raindrop. I don't think that was in the forecast. I think by the So the report they had earlier on, it seemed like it was going to be fine weather, about 20 degrees Celsius for this match in Italy. But we're about to have the national anthems in the chat. We have got there, will the All Blacks have a new kit for 2025? I hope they get rid of the white collar. They probably will end up finding a new design, I'd say. We have got there, hello from Abs Willis, welcome in. Or Ab Willis, I should say. Love your commentary, says Craig. And also Craig and Claudette here. I can't wait, we are South Africans. And also we have got there, Ireland will be going in hard to make up for last week's loss. Yeah, the thing is, Italy, like I said, they've conceded 120 points in their last 2 games, so that averages out to 60, which I believe is about as many points as the Irish are trying to put on here. Just to really make a statement. Plus, like, it's not so much for them, but in the next game for England, they need to get they can't win it by as much as they need to. I was about to say points differential. We'd love to see it come into it, but no one's catching up with that French points differential. It is absolutely insane. Plus 106 when they have faced a majority of the teams next to them down here. You know, they've faced the English, the Irish, but it was that big game up against the Italians that really buffeted it in the right direction. Oh, this is very high, this Irish national anthem rendition. Let's see Kean Healy hit that note that the Irish opera singer has. Oh, wow. That sounds like it's the type of thing that would break a glass. That's how high that was. We have got there Ireland, says Leslie, with the green heart. All favourites should win. Best we can hope for is an underdog miracle, says Robert. And we also got their morning and afternoon Kiwi Lads audience, says Blues Nate. Welcome in, mate. And hi, guys, come on, Ireland. Oh, no, that's Italy, sorry, from Gunner Time. And Outchange says Blues Nate. Yeah, she certainly went high with it. She going to do the same for the Italian national anthem, perhaps? Do let me know, of course, who you guys think will win this match. And also, who you think will score the first try. The exact player, for me, I'm thinking the fact that James Lowe is back means that he's going to have a really good shot, although he's up against Ange Capuzio, who honestly could score the first try himself. And we have actually seen the Italian start matches not too bad throughout this Six Nations. We have got there, come on the Blues, says Kevin, and I hope Wales put in a performance later, worthy of the nation later. Says Gunner Time and Ireland by 10. Says Birdie V, and did Italy ever beat Ireland? Says Mochaden. I think they have, right? In the past. I can't think of the exact game that it was. But I believe... Oh, no, I don't know. And Lowe to score first, says Birdie V, and Jameson Gibson Park first try. That's a very good shout. And we have got there, Italy beat us years ago, says Patrick, and very unlikely, but once again rooting for the underdogs in this game, says Roz, and greetings, says Steve. Welcome in, mate. Just woke up in time for Hamish's commentary. How are you, bro? I'm doing very well. I recently woke up myself. And, yeah, it's very exciting when you wake up and you know you've got 3 games of the Six Nations back to back to back. We are going to be very disappointed. Set notification, not notified yet. You've already started. Hi, Hamish. Says Bruce. Welcome in, Bruce. And, yeah, YouTube sometimes are a bit broken with their notifications. Italy will be eating pizza and taking names today. Says Younger. This is most certain win of the all 3, Ireland by 30 plus. Yeah, I think that out of the 3 games, this is the one that a lot of people feel is going to be the most one-sided. But once again, it would actually be kind of cool for Italy to stay competitive in this contest, because Ireland, you know, they're going to come out absolutely firing. And it's whether or not this Italian side in front of a home crowd can handle that early onslaught, or whether they get too far behind from the get-go. And if that is the case, then I would say it's going to be a long day at the office for the Italians. Hi, Claudette, says Craig. And I have a bet on Ireland halftime, England full-time. Wait, sorry. I have a bet on Ireland halftime, England, France full-time, then over to Indian Wells tennis. So that is a 13-1, is it? The tennis. I have no idea what's happening in the tennis at the moment. I'll be honest, even when it's like the Australian Open or Wimbledon, I normally forget what's happening. We have got there, Italy beat us in 2013, says Patrick there. So yeah, it's been a good little while, 12 years or so. They've got a few good options off the bench for both sides. Lamaro off the bench for the Italians. Ross Vincent as well. They've gone with that 6-2. I agree with you. I hope the Italians can perform, but Yeah, that's kind of been the trend throughout the whole competition, hasn't it? We see the Italians competitive at halftime, and we say, let's hope it continues, and then it never has continued throughout their other games. Second half is normally the Italian downfall. Italian skiers are going downhill, says Steve V. Like, literally, I guess they would be, wouldn't they? Unless they are, you do a bit of cross-country skiing sometimes, and that's slightly uphill, isn't it? A little bit of a gradient. Other than that, straight down. I still remember doing skiing at school. I decided to not upgrade from the beginner to the amateur ramp because one of our classmates rammed into a shed because they couldn't work out how to stop. So I went, I'm happy enough with no sheds in the way. Looking forward to great commentary, Hamish. May the best side win, says JT. But now we are almost ready to go for this contest, ladies and gents, at the Stadio Olimpico in Rome. Referee in charge of this game will be Luke Pearce, and the Italians will be kicking off for this monumental game of the Six Nations. Can the Irish take the number one spot back? And if so, how long for? We are now underway. Kicked off down towards the 22 and nicely claimed by the Irish. They are inside of that 22, so they will be able to kick this one into touch with Jameson Gibson Park. You can't ski in New Zealand. What do you mean? They literally have mountains. Now that one's going to go into touch. And a very nice kick from Jameson Gibson Park. I was watching a video of Rassie and Felix Jones today. Seems a good guy. Says Bruce. And we have got there, so with the new enlarged Rugby World Cup, the more games played will be worse for the Northern Hemisphere teams as they don't have the depth of players like New Zealand and Springboks to make it all the way. Says Juan Pierre Bosch, nicely taken by the Italians in the line out. They will now look to shift it to the right-hand side, sitting about 40 metres out. They will be looking for some of that crisp backline movement. New Zealand has mountains, says Mr. Marmite. And what number one spot, says Craig Stevens, number one spot in the Six Nations table. Don't worry. South Africans still have that number one position, and they will not lose it by the end of the Six Nations. Now going off to the left-hand side. Nice backline. Out to, I believe it would have been Mononcello. And I think Sheenan will score the first try. Or you going Dan Sheehan? Yep. Very good shout. Definitely if the Irish are going aggressive, we could see a couple rolling mauls attempted throughout this match too. It looks like now Paige Rello is going to kick this one up. New Zealand Mountain is 164 feet high, says Mr. Marmite. I mean, South Island, you've got a lot of skiing options. You've got Cadrona, you've got Queenstown. There's quite a few. The Remarkables. Now it's going to be kicked downfield from James Gibson Park again. Nearly had a heart attack when he said Ireland will be number one. Sorry about that. I should have clarified a little bit more. It seems like that one did stump a few viewers. What is New Zealand going to do about their sevens team, says Manny M? Probably just keep playing sevens and hope for the best. Hello, Hamish, says Banana. And now Lucchese. It's it up. It's a good phase play at the moment from the Italians. Every time the Irish are given the ball back, Italy just set themselves around that halfway line. And then the plan normally is for Paige Rello to kick this one high. Just slowly try and work down the field, play in the territory. Ireland number 4 or 5 world rankings. That's their spot. So here's George. Nice take from Hugo Keenan inside of the 22. And we will have the mark. So a little bit of a slower start to this contest. No food, Hamish. Wait, so you're saying you're not going to feed the New Zealand 7 side? So I have a feeling that would make them not perform. We have got there, I saw Kiwi Rob got angry again after the Blues lost. He did. He gets angry a lot, unfortunately. And this year, more than any time, he's had a lot to be angry about. But, I mean, the Blues have been thereabouts in a majority of their games. So, I don't think it's going to be very long until we see them actually, fully make a skyrocket towards the top of the table. Or at least near it. Nice short side run from Paige Rello. He's in touch. By about 2 steps, he almost snuck around the outside. And we have got there 37 games between the two sides. Ireland won 33, Italy 4. Last Italian victory was in 2013. There we go. There was a terrible rendition of Ireland's call. They should have resurrected Luke Kelly to sing Ireland's call, says Neville. It was extremely high, wasn't it? The opera singer version of it. I don't even know what you call that in terms of, is it alto? Is that the pitch That's the right word, isn't it? You can tell I failed music. I just like playing guitar. Couldn't read music to save myself. Going off to the left-hand side, Jack Crowley. He's normally able to read a backline and find a gap. Gets the start at 10 rather than Sam Prendergast. Now James Lowe, he's in touch too. Runs out of space on the Stadio Olimpico. Seems at the moment that both sides want to use this ball down the wings rather than in that massive middle section of the park. Can hardly wait for the later match. Watch the Scots give the Frogs a good hiding. Says game, I like the confidence. Like I said earlier on, I think a lot of people, more than normal, are back in the Scottish, like in terms of getting behind them and hoping to see them with a victory. The Guinness Kegs should win this one. And we have got their soprano. Is that the highest that a female voice can go? Because she was certainly up there. Now, kick downfield from Garbisi. Low tackle made by Monty Ioane, who's also made his way back into this Italian side, going short side for Dan Sheehan. Looked like he was shaping for the boot for half a second there. 40 metres out from their own line here, Ireland. Crowley has to play 9. Goes across into the middle. Henshaw, it almost went through, but the ball is dropped by James Ryan. So the Italians will have possession yet again. I'm hoping Scotland does not get humped. I think a lot of people are too. And that's the thing for the Scottish, where they are sitting, if they can somehow pull off the win, they could actually climb the rankings. If it's a 4-try victory, you know, it's very tough, to be fair for them. They just dropped that wrong game. If they had won their game up against England, right, they would be sitting more than likely in third, maybe even second at the moment. And if they had been able to get that Calcutta Cup victory, you know, that last game, now with how the competition is shaped up, would have been massive. The fact that it would have been for the Six Nations, it still is, but only really for one side. Right, first scrum of the game. Ireland slow start. Hurry up, says Banana. And no hoodie today, says Caitlin. No, we've gone T-shirt, believe it or not. I am slightly embarrassed to say, but I had a different T-shirt on just before the live stream. It had a little Kiwi Lads logo, but then I remembered the green screen and my chest became see-through. So as much as I wanted to keep it, I then had to run up the hallway. It is currently 3 a.m, but I had to switch so that I wasn't as see-through yet again. But I hope you are doing well, Caitlin. Oh, that's going to be a loose ball. Nicely picked up by Jack Conan for the Irish. And be aware of Scotland, says Dion, and -5 in New Zealand heatwave. Is it? See where we are. We've had the hottest day since 2008 here on the date it was. It's going to be a nice take from Ange Capuzio, who's had his knee chopped out by Gary Ringrose. And the penalty does go the way of the Italians. Conan was not able to get in there due to Josh Van Flaren not rolling away in time. Such a dangerous loose forward trio as well here for Ireland. Conan, Van der Flair, and Doris O'Mahony will be making his way off the bench. And we have got their morning, Hamish. Says David the Mole. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. I'm wearing a hoodie and it says I'm with stupid, says George. So who are you with? Because I'm sure they probably don't like you at the moment, I would think. Do France have 5.5 from now? Do have 5.5 from now? What does that mean, Mornay? I think it's maybe auto-corrected somewhere along the lines. And another thing for Scotland is they are currently 7th on the log. There are 6 pools at the Rugby World Cup 2027. They will want to climb up the log. There's Robert. And we have got there, what's with the stick for the New Zealand Sevens teams, go through highs and lows, both in Sevens and Unions. South Africa were woeful during the early years and now very, very good. It's the nature of the beast. Yeah, like Sevens can change in an instant. Look at the Spanish for one massive example. They've gone from being a team that weren't even really considered as anywhere near that top 8 at times, and now they're sitting still right up there. That's going to be the penalty going the way of the Irish now for the Italians being offside. Never back on against Daniele Fischietti. We beat France in Paris a year ago. It's not impossible, but it's Scotland. You never know what to expect. Either pish or brilliant, says Cal Mack. And do France play 5.5 hours from now? I tried typing. So yeah, Pretty much. About 5 hours, 35 minutes at the Stade de France. They're just talking about the little bit of rain that is falling at the moment. I'm alone at the moment, nobody to call stupid, unless, like, if you're the only one there, and no, never mind. We have there, what was the temperature today? Where are you from? From New Zealand, South Island. Temperature we got up to was about 24 officially, or 25 officially, degrees Celsius. But I think real feel was about 27, 28. It was a really nice day. Now Gibson Park, going off to the left-hand side here. Nice bit of work from Jack Conan, just with the pick and go. And good low tackle made by Juan Inacio Brix. They almost managed to get something going short side. That's going to be stolen by the Italians. They're kicking this one in behind. The ball will not bounce in to touch, so it will be a foot race into the in-goal area in which Robbie Henshaw is there to force it. It will be the goal line dropout. My girlfriend bought that hoodie for me. Not a compliment. I thought it was. No. But then is she like self-sabotaging herself? Or is it... There's a lot of levels that you could look at for that hoodie. But as long as it's comfy, that's the main thing. Grab a mirror, George, says Caitlin. And Italy doing great, says Robert there. And we have got there, I came in late, if possible. Current world rankings, please, says Sean. So there are a couple changes that can happen in the overall world rankings after this game, but one of them that cannot change is who is in first place. The South Africans have managed to secure that. So what we will quickly do here is we'll load this up. Okay, so if Italy managed to win this game, believe it or not, they don't actually climb on the table. They have to win this game by 15 plus to then move up to number 9. So that is one thing. Ireland cannot gain a huge amount of points from this one. They cannot go up. So the current rankings, South Africa, New Zealand, Ireland, France, then Argentina sneaking in there in 5th. Now nice run forward from Manoncello. Nice offload to Garbisi. Grabber him behind to Monte Ioane. What a try that is for the Italians, and they will strike first in this contest. Like I said, they start well. And normally, like, that's the thing. They can make people question whether or not there is an upset on the cards. But then the match continues and normally it goes downhill. But this is just nice, classic Italian backline flair. Manoncello got the offload up, put the grubber in behind for Monte Ioane to chase onto from Garbisi. It's probably 9 o'clock New Zealand time, says Morne Lagrange. 9 a.m. will be when that France match is taking place. Excellent, says Robert. And we have got there, does the hoodie's arrow point up or to the side, says Caitlin. And we have got there, where it points, no comment. Okay, so we might have worked it out now, or at least Caitlin has. Great bounce, says Tony. And yeah, sometimes you want that one to just bounce up into the hands, and that is exactly what it did for Monte Ioane. Italians have poked the beer, methinks. Don't mind being wrong. And that is a fantastic kick from the sideline, making the score now 7-0. Hamish trying New Zealand lamb kebab. I will try to the next time I'm somewhere that has kebabs. Little small town that I live in, I think closest thing you get to a kebab is like a skewer for some of you guys who are overseas, which is just pretty much, it's just a bit more of a sad, like it's not like a big looking kebab thing. And come on, Italy, says Rugby Itch. Yeah, at the moment, they've certainly started well in this contest. They don't want to finish in that last place position, and this would put a massive amount of pressure on the Welsh if the Italians were to win this. But we're still very early on, and we've seen Italy start well before, and sometimes straight afterwards it goes downhill. Nice rush defence from Monte Ioane chasing after that high ball. The Italians looking for the turnover, not quite able to get it now. Crowley goes across to James Lowe. Kicking it in behind on the halfway line. That's a little bit too much juice on that one. It's gone into the in-goal area. And the ball will be forced down. Goal line dropout for Italy. We go there, imagine if Ireland loses. We'll go down to 5th on the rankings, says Bob Pello. Are you sure? I just did like the calculator and whatnot. And it seemed to think that Ireland would still keep their spot relatively. In fact, sorry, no, they would go down to 4. You are correct. That not quite down to 5th. There's quite a big gap between them and 5th place, which is Argentina on 84.97. But yeah, they can drop a little bit down to that 4th place based in England and Cardiff. It's already all the pressure Wales need. Italy winning won't bother the lads much, I don't know. Says Lord, that's going to be a knock-on here from Ireland again. Just a few early errors coming from this Irish side. And we have got there. What did you think of the Chiefs-Blues game? Rico getting another try. Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. I don't know what's happened to that man, but he's remembered how to score tries now, which is fantastic because, like, it took so long to get that 50th, and now that he's got it, maybe that was just the confidence booster that Ioane needed. But yeah, a bit of a last-minute thriller between the two sides, as it normally is in the New Zealand derby. And you're probably the perfect person to vouch for the Blues, Tim. Like, they've been close in multiple of their games. Just a little couple bits of fine-tuning, and they'll just keep on climbing the table. Are you going to wear a suit for the France-Scotland game, reason France title game? I don't know. I quite like my T-shirt at the moment, I'll be honest. It's a little bit more, like, free-flowing. It's also still relatively warm here, so I'll probably start sweating in a suit. But we'll see how we're going. We have there go Italy. But not good for my prediction, says Craig, and Italy must remain ambitious. Yeah, they've started this match extremely well. Already 15 minutes in, and Italy are up by 7. And hi, Alan Hamish, says Robert V. Welcome in, mate. If you're excited for 3 games of the Six Nations back to back to back, we are going to be covering them all on the channel. So a lot of potential for some great games. I like the t-shirt vibes, Hamish, says Rhea. They consume a lot of ginger. And no one's complaining about the shirt, says Caitlin. And how hot is it in New Zealand? We reached about mid-20s today, which some people would say is still cold. Definitely like in South Africa, you guys are hitting 30 on the daily. But yeah, it was a hot day. Definitely for this time of year. Till this day, no one understands the reason behind Rudolph Stroley was a terrible coach. Rassie is way better, says Xander. Raw ginger. Is that like raw ginger? That would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? It's probably, they put it in like health mixes, I think. You can tell I don't eat a lot of ginger, can't you? And we have that hello, says Loppy Try, welcome in. Dudes, have coverage, hit the like button, says Robert Wood. Yeah, anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Currently 37 metres out from their own line. The Italian scrum has gone down, but they have still got the possession. And there is the advantage now. Monticello, he finds another bit of a gap. Linking up with one Inacio Briggs, or at least tried to, finds the flick pass eventually. But by then, the move's momentum slightly went away. Pedrello goes to the short side, and that's going to be dropped by the big man Federico Ruza. But it is offside. Wait. It's offside against the Italians. So someone else did play the ball, even though he was in front. Best weather months now in South Africa. Temps in the 20s. We have, it feels like 41 temperature thanks to humidity here in Thailand, says Steve V. So yeah, certainly warm for yourself at the moment. And humidity's just the one that really is brutal. He should have passed. Yeah, I want to say he was trying to link up, but it did seem like he wanted to go for the highlight try all by himself there, Manoncello. Do rugby league players earn more money than union players? Depends on who you're talking, and also depends on what currency you're talking to. We have got there South African early autumn/fall, and our temperatures close during the day, closer to the mid-20s in Celsius, says Stefan. It's like 10 degrees in Ireland, says Patrick, so a nice warm one for the Irish today then. Now going off to the right-hand side, and speaking of Ireland, they have got possession now, and they will want the try before the first quarter is over. Gibson Park has a bit of a slip, which means that the pass does also not quite go where he wanted it to. South Africa was a bit cooler today, thank goodness, says Caitlin. Because, like, you guys have been going heat wave and then, like, the torrential rain that was happening the other week. I remember that game for the URC got delayed by about an hour and a half because of how wet it got in a quick hurry, and then it just goes back to nice sunny weather. That's going to be kicked in behind here for the Irish. It looks like there are 2 Italian players down, including one who looks a bit more serious than the other. One has returned to his feet. It looks like maybe a knee injury. So Ireland playing with 14. Hugo Keenan running forward. That was a little bit dumb from him. He ran towards a player who was injured. So, yeah, this does not look too good for, I think it was Fixture. And we have the kind of weather is why I left Manny. Says Stevie, Wales versus England. It's going to be fireworks, says Lord Inquisitor. And I need a beer, says Manny M. Italy will win again, says Mike. Yeah, it would be the first time in 12 years for the Italians, we have been told. And imagine if it is to stop the Irish from taking that first spot just for now on the Six Nations table. In fact, it's Dino Lamb, my apologies, rather than Daniele Fixture. And we have there in 2023, Ireland were serious World Cup contenders. A player's aging, or what's going on, says Sean. I think it's just the fact that sometimes teams have a few up and downs. Like, this is still a world-class Irish side. But they just haven't really, for one, they haven't really clicked in this game in particular. But that doesn't mean that they won't. Like, they could still, this is optimistic, right? But some people would still say that Ireland can still win this game by 30 points if they find their rhythm. But for now, the Italians are really making it difficult for them. Do you get mosquitoes in New Zealand like I do in South Africa? We do to a certain extent, sometimes not as much. But on a muggy day, you get quite a few. We have got their knee gone. And we have got their Gosh. Trust no extreme injuries today. And it looks like we've already had one that's relatively extreme. Looks like the Italians are about to make that change. Although Rusa is walking himself, so that is good. Niccolo Canoni, he will make his way onto the field for the Argentines. In fact, no, that looks like arm, in fact. I thought it was knee initially, but that looks like they're keeping his arm relatively straight, so maybe an elbow injury or something along those lines. I'll use like an electronic tennis racket here to swat the mosquitoes. Nice. Do they make like that zapping noise? I know that I've seen them before in New Zealand, but what got quite popular a while ago was using like a water gun type thing, except it was full of salt. I don't know whether or not that's a thing that's picked up overseas, but like people went through a phase here where they'd get one of those and it was good for getting flies. Only if you had good aim though. And now Gibson Park going off to the left. He's going to be dragged down just short of the try line. But Ireland, this is their best attacking chance of the game so far. Ringrose driven backwards. Around the side there is going to be the advantage in favour of Ireland as Finlay Bealham gets within a metre. So they might be shaping up to shift this one to the left, unless Porter, of course, wants to have a carry himself. He looks at the line and once again will be just short. Around the side again, James Ryan trying to drive his legs. Chance for Finlay Bealham. Eventually, this Italian defence has to budge. And there is a grounding. I think it's Finlay Bealham who has got that try. Will be amazing if Italy can win this one. And so much fruit, says Mr. Marmite. Yes, the strings are electrified. You charge up. And if you swing it in some areas, it looks like a mini fireworks show, says Steve V. Right. I think they're just going to check this grounding again. He is short and then he propels himself forward. This might be going back for just the penalty. And it all comes down to real time because you're allowed one movement. So I would say for Finlay Bealham, he's short there, but that was almost his half movement when he did straighten out. But they are going to award it. Oh, hang on. No, double blow the whistle. Maybe they're not. They're just going to have another look at this and make sure that it is the right decision. Australia, they have a record amount of huge insects. Surely New Zealand has them too, maybe even bigger. We don't really get the spiders though. Like Australia, they have so many dangerous things living there. They've got snakes, spiders, crocodiles, Australians, wombats. You don't want to get one of those angry. They get a little bit feisty. But kangaroos, those things punch. Well, they kick, don't they? But like, there's a lot that can get you in Australia. In New Zealand, like, we've still got some spiders, like, but our worst spider, I don't think is poisonous. It's just a whitetail, which can give a bit of irritation when it bites you. Why are Ireland starting so slowly? Hopefully you're not understating or underestimating Italy, says Mornay. No try double movement, says no try, says Banana. And let's go, the letter I. But they will have 5 metres out from the line. Quick tap taken by Dan Sheehan. Still, the Italians will be under pressure. As Ireland, they are right on the verge. I think they're going to use their backline this time. They were very close with the forwards, but if they can shift this ball out wide, I believe they will be able to score. Again, New Zealand just has birds. Jellyfish, yeah, that's probably a fair statement. We have got a few jellyfish around in the water. Now, still 3 metres out. They are getting very close. Who's referee for this match? It is Luke Pearce. Was in charge of this one. I'm not sure of the name of the TMO, but now around the side, Tyke Byrne. This Italian defence is holding a lot stronger than some people would have anticipated. Same with maybe even the Irish. They are still going with the forwards, though. If they can shift this one out left, they score. Calling it right now, but whether or not they want to, Gibson Park hasn't even joined up with the breakdown. He is allowing the forwards to work. That's going to be possibly a deliberate knockdown from the Italians here. This might be a little bit of trouble for them, but still Ireland will find themselves only a couple metres from the try line, and they're going to go back for the knock-on, and it will be the scrum for the Irish again. Kangaroos are horrendous looking animals, and they look pretty dangerous. Yeah, I remember when my sister moved to Australia, within the first, I think it was 3 weeks, a kangaroo ran past her on her way to work. He was just going to work too, obviously, but they're quick. They seem friendly until you annoy them and they stand up and they kind of like puff out their chest, and that's when you know you're in trouble. Like, they've been known for stealing dogs and like hurting them. They're feral things sometimes. Koalas, they can give you chlamydia. So, you know, Aussie's one of those ones you got to step smoothly, but you can avoid most things, I would say. Kangaroo Burger, says Manny M. Where is New Zealand exactly? So, I would say the best way of describing it is the southeast of the world, depending on what map you're looking at. Fun fact, Australia lost a war against emus. There's a lot of emus at the moment, or in fact the kangaroo numbers. We've got a bit of a stoppage here. How many kangaroos are in Australia? There are 42.8 million kangaroos. Those things breed like rabbits. Well, they breed like kangaroos. How many rabbits are there in Australia, I wonder? Now we've got to look. 200 million, they breed like rabbits. That's a huge number. Those rabbits keep busy. Fun fact about Australia, only their accents, mate, says George. And we have got there, kangaroo is very lean, says Steve. Right, scrum feed now for the Irish. And about to feed the ball in is Jameson Gibson Park. We get kangaroo meat in the UK Stakes, says Lord Inquisitor. Now chance here. The Irish have been told to use it. Gibson Park goes across the Crowley, pops the ball up, and they use the backline and score. Hugo Keenan goes in, and it's taken 23 minutes, but they have eventually got themselves that first strike. Aussie pride themselves to pick up roadkill and make burgers, says Xander. And I watched New Zealand Parrot rip a car windows rubber seal out. A kakapo? Yeah, it would have either been a kakapo, or I think the Kias are also known for doing it. We saw quite a few of them on school camp, and they just kind of hang around, and yet it's similar to a magpie, how, you know, a magpie will steal your keys, or it will swoop you in Australia as well. Like, honestly, for Australia, you got to look from all directions, because a bird might attack you, snake might attack you, might randomly just see a croc if you're out in the wilderness on a golf course or something. More sheep than people in New Zealand. Yeah, we got a lot of sheep here. I'll quickly get that stat as well while we're at it. How many rabbits are in New Zealand, I wonder? Over 100,000. So that tells you that Australia, of course, it is a lot larger, but rabbits seem to love the warmer weather. In New Zealand, we've got 24.4 million. So we have about almost 4 times, in fact, more than 4 times, almost 6 times the amount of sheep than people. But now, inside of the 22 here for the Irish, Jameson Gibson Park goes back across to the right to Tyg Byrne. And we're able to get the kick over too, so 7 all. Honestly, I think the Italians will be pretty happy with where they sit currently, but they do need to keep on going. We have got there a good call by Crowley to redirect Keenan. Says Jimbo, and that one's going to be a great clearing kick from Gibson Park. What is your sister living in Australia? Does she work there? She does indeed, yeah, and also her boyfriend lives there, so she moved over there recently. You always have Lord of the Rings film locations. Australia can't touch that. Says Big Rig Joe. Up north, they are annoying at night during mating season. Them buddies, Kiwi lads, or bunny. Wait, the kangaroos are or the rabbits? I can't get over how many kangaroos there are though. Now, nicely taken. Italy have been told to use it. And kicked him behind from Page Rello. Mac Hansen takes it near the sideline. Smashing tackle from Monty Ioane. Now, back to the left-hand side for Andrew Porter. A little bit of a counter-up for the Italians, but both players have lost their feet, so unable to grab that one. Hamish, change your t-shirt, great. Says Ruth. Wallabies in Scotland, Wee Island in Loch Lomond. Says Cal Mac. And is the score for real? Only 7-7, it is correct. Yeah, after 26 minutes, the Italians striking first. Oh, there is a knock on. So we will go back for the scrum yet again. And like they've just said, Ioane and Hansen has been quite a good head-to-head so far. Trying to enforce that physicality is Monty Ioane. And for real, Ireland only just equalised, says Big Rig. In my part of New Zealand, we have a wallaby infestation. We're a little bit the same. Like, there are a few signs around saying if you see a wallaby, report it to the people. I can't remember who it is who's in charge of the wallabies. And we have got there making corned beef, cabbage, and carrots in a crock pot. Any other recipe, making it tomorrow. Says Robert V. Not allowed to touch those Kiwis. Leave them running around on anyone's farm, says Blues Nate. Now, Italy will have the scrum feed halfway line. If they can score again before the 40-minute break, that would be pretty massive for them. And a confidence booster, but everyone throughout the Six Nations has already learnt. The Italians, they can be as good as they like in the first half, but it is that second half when they start to tire that we normally see the opposition get back into a contest. Nice kicking behind from Page. Rello. Is that one going to roll into touch? It just stays in the field of play. Goes into the in-goal area and put down. How do your parents feel about sister dating an Australian? They are arch enemies on the rugby field, says Mornay. He's only half Australian, so I think they're fine with it. But also, like, most Kiwis, as much as it gets hyped up, like, that rivalry in sport is still, I think, on general's, like, kind of spectrum is still friendly enough. Although some people really do get caught up in it. Now Ireland, goal line dropout, goes down to Monty Ioane. Pass back across field to Garbisi. Finds Canoni starting at number 8 in this contest, although everyone but late. Good game so far, being competitive throughout the first 28 minutes. And yeah, I think the Italians, for them to have a really good shot here, they do need another try before half-time. All looks like another injury for the Italians. They've already lost their lock early on in this match, Dino Lamb. Now going back across to the right, interception from James, though. Great quick hands and then dropped by James Ryan. What's his other half? He is half Australian, half Filipino. As his split, that's kicked out on the full from Italy, but the advantage, by the sounds of it, was not over for the knock-on. And we have got the Italians need no spaghetti. Half-time to not tire. And we have got their Italian pasta are doing great. Keep an Irish in check, says Ruth. Yeah, a little bit frustrated there, the Irish coach. Come on, Italy, says Robert. Now 11 minutes remaining. Handlinger is 5 against Ireland, 3 against Italy. So if that stat was the telling factor in this contest, and if it is all that it comes down to, the Italians in a good spot. But Arthur Vincent, sorry, not Arthur, I should say Ross Vincent, has made his way on. And Lamaro might also make his way onto the field. I think Italy might make 3 of their changes of their 6-2 split before half-time. But Lorenzo Canoni, he only just made a run before, so that confuses me a little bit. Wait, who's limping here? So that's Sebastian Negri who's limping. I'm looking through for Canoni. Maybe Canoni was an HIA, because I didn't see a clear shot that did it to him. I'm late. I thought Ireland will be winning this game by this time. Says Tabiso, welcome in, mate. Hope you have been keeping well. You're excited for the final day. Yeah, I think a lot of people anticipated the Irish having some sort of lead at this point in time, but they've held on well, the Italians. What's going on with Ireland, says Thabiso? Yeah, they're just struggling to find their rhythm at the moment. Right, so Canoni, yeah, he's got the ice on the knee, or just above, around the quad. So they have now got 3 injuries, the Italians, throughout this first half. Now, having a 6-2 split has worked in their favour here because they've got enough guys to replace them. But, you know, you definitely don't want to be changing them within the first 30 minutes. Okay, they've just mentioned here, with the positioning of the scrum, it means that the 50-22 is actually an option here for the Italians. Whether or not they go for it could be a different situation. I'm also just checking in with Hamish, always fabulous, says Ruth. And there's the French game after this, not quite. Next is Wales versus England. So that'll be our next contest, and then from there it goes on to the French versus Scotland. What a brilliant run that is for the Italians, looking for the offload, but the ball does not sit up. Now Gibson Park tried to kick the ball. He ended up kicking the man instead. Now Pedrello on the short side, puts the grubber in behind. This one's going to be chased, but once again, just a little bit too much on it, and it goes into the in-goal area. That's now the 3rd time, I believe, that is for the Italians, so they will be going to a goal line dropout yet again here, Ireland. The All Blacks will smash Ireland in 2025, says Manny M. Maybe Ireland's problem is that Italy is playing well, says David the Mod. Yeah, I think that's the thing. Throughout this Six Nations comp, a lot of people have slightly, I guess, not so much discredited Italy, but certainly underestimated how well they can play when they find their rhythm. Their goal line defence up against the Irish was phenomenal. They stopped them for about 15 phases within 2 or 3 metres of the line. They've had some really nice runs as well. So, you know, it's just been a competitive game. Ireland, with the exception of a bit of handling, haven't done too much completely wrong. They've just halted their own momentum by making those little mistakes, and Italy are capitalising. James Lowe's just kicked a bloke. He missed the tackle, so he was like, well, I'll boot him in the shin for his troubles. Now, 9 minutes remaining in this first half. Nice run forward from Canoni. And it's, of course, the number 19. He's made his way on. His brother has gone from the field. Nice run from Garbisi again. That was never onside for Gary Ringrose. As much as he wanted to be back behind the breakdown, wasn't able to get to the hindmost foot. Listen to your stream while I work on my thesis, says JP. So hopefully it is going well for yourself. What's your opinion on the goal line dropout? I'm a little bit sad that they got rid of the 5-metre scrum, to be honest. Like, sometimes you feel like it's a real downgrade for the side that's attacking. Like, they still do it in the 7 side of things. Hamish's commentary is always lovely to listen to. Ruth, I'm addicted. Says Sandra. And blatantly offside. Yeah, I don't think... Well, when he sees the replay of it, he'll be like, yeah, I know I'm offside, but maybe he thought he had got a bit further back, but he was honestly nowhere near it. They should give Georgia a chance in the Six Nations, make it the 7 Nations. Says Manny M. Speaking of chances here, Italy have decided to go for the 3 points rather than taking on the 7s. This is going to be a relatively tough kick. Bring back the 5-metre scrum, says Studs Rays. Yeah, it's an interesting one. I would say, because it used to be a 22 dropout, didn't it, if the ball was kicked into the in-goal area. I feel like that was a nice rule. Oh, Lord, I have. This kick has come round just enough and goes over. So that will make the score now 10 points to 7. The Italians take the lead again. I'm new to rugby. Says total Guerra. And yeah, hopefully I said that correctly. Welcome in, mate. Do let me know, who is your favourite side to watch? And just the little amount of time that you've had while watching, who's the team that you've thoroughly enjoyed? Or maybe even the side that got you into rugby? Do let me know. Can't wait for next weekend's URC games, especially the Stormers game. Bulls, Stormers both playing the same time. And they're going to show the Bulls Leinster game, says Mornay. Yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame that those games do overlap. But we will be doing our best to cover as much of the URC next round as we can. But yeah, it just seems a bit weird that they've decided to have those games on at the same time. Nice take from Hugo Keenan. Off to the left-hand side here on the halfway line for Ireland. Already 33 and a half minutes through this match. Has the French rugby team done the damage? I think that win over Ireland has done enough for France to really have a great chance of winning the Six Nations, but also it would have hurt Ireland's confidence. Like, we're talking about a side that only a week ago everyone was claiming we're going to win a third Six Nations in a row. But now, they are up against it. They lost to the French by a bigger margin than some expected. Now Ireland, they have still got this ball and they can go into the lead at halftime if they are able to score in the very near future. There was obstruction though. Getting in the front was Tyg Byrne. This ends up causing the accidental penalty. We have got their new jersey, USA. Also, you're a fan of the MLR, I would assume. And the haka thing is nuts, says total. And we have got their why does it feel like Ireland is going back to their struggle era? I don't know, at the end of the day, they are still 3-1 in their record for the Six Nations. The New Zealanders are crazy, says total Guerra. And when Italy eats a well-cooked tomato sauce with spaghetti for breakfast, they play beautiful rugby for some reason, says Xander. But the table, as it currently sits, the Italians would go up to 5 points. Ireland would be on 15 points, but they would still be behind the English. So, yeah, they will want nothing less than a win here, the Irish. Still a lot of action left today. I think there should be a B Six Nations for teams like Georgia, Spain, etc. There kind of is. There's a European competition involving those other European sides. It just isn't advertised as much. But yeah, Georgia, Portugal, Romania, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, I think are in there too. Rugby is like American football and basketball on speed. I love rugby now, says Total Guerra. And that's the thing, in America, I think it is slowly growing. And if more people gave it that little bit of a chance, I think they would thoroughly enjoy it. Like you said, it's fast-paced. It's a little bit scrappy at times, but free-flowing. And can be a beautiful game. Now, nice steal at line-out time, but it sits up for the Italians. So the Irish did all the hard work of getting that ball back from the line-out just to have it sit back to the Italians in the bounce of the ball. And Italy on attack again, going off to the right-hand side. Oh, interception chance for James Lowe. It will just be called as the knock-on. They will go back for the scrum. No, in fact, it will still be just a knock-on advantage. That was really well done by Luke Pearce. Letting the game flow a little bit longer as the Italians were close to getting a turnover in the breakdown. So he said, we'll just wait to see what happens. Now off to the right-hand side. Chance on the halfway line for the Italians. Still 3 minutes left in the first 40. I can't see why it wouldn't catch on. There's no commercial breaks. The TV channels can't make money. I can see, why it wouldn't catch on. Yeah, it's definitely not as advertiser-friendly as, American football or basketball. But, if they really have to get ads in there, little bottom corner pop-up. Yes, it's not going to be as much. Or, injury time, stick a quick ad in if they have to. But, yeah, it's only normally an hour 50, somewhere around there for a match of rugby, whereas a lot of those other American sports they can fit, like really big sponsors into those gaps. International rugby is tiny compared to American football, especially dollar-wise. It's even better to watch if you played it yourself in school or university/college. And do the Irish look funny when they run after the Frenchies kicked them in the kahunas last week? Says Xander. They've certainly been slow to get going for Ireland, but that does not mean they won't lead at halftime. Nice run from Caelan Norris. 2 minutes left now on the clock, but jumping over the ball for the Italians, just losing his feet. That was playing the ball on the ground. Could have easily been an advantage against Italy. Now Gibson Park goes off to Finlay Bealham. Doesn't get the offload, and a good bit of muscling up from Italy's defence. And hopefully the Stormers can beat the Scarlets next week, and it's away from home. And there's going to be another little knock-on by the sounds of it. Right, and Luke Pearce just says, give me a second. Yeah, no, that is illegal from Mikel Lamaro. He does apologise straight away. He knows he shouldn't have done that. And he's just actually said, I'm sorry. So I think that this is probably going to be a penalty. Oh. They've gone TMO. Is this going to be more than just a penalty here? Okay, Luke Pearce says, it feels a bit uncomfortable to me. Right, they're deciding whether or not it's deliberate. I'll give you a hint, it is. He was on the ground and he tried to do the no-look slap down of it. Right, so I've just said there, if it's not deliberate, it's going to be the scrum for the Italians from the knock-on. That's very deliberate, and it's going to be a yellow card too for Lamaro. And he will not be happy, Mikel Lamaro. Just a little moment of mistake. He's now, like, that honestly, he's just thrown his mouth guard. Now he has to go get it because it's bounced the wrong way. And honestly, that could be the game. Okay, I just heard one of the commentators chanting stupid, stupid. So they're not happy about it. I think that was the English commentator. But now a minute left. How much can the Irish get from this 10-point margin? Or 10 minutes, sorry, I should say, of advantage. And already they are going to that rolling maul. Porter has it, and that's the first try. This game has completely been flipped, ladies and gents. All because of one moment from such an experienced player. But that's one try in 30 seconds that the Irish have been able to get. It's 10 minutes around the halftime too, says Lord Inquisitor. But yeah, Ireland will go into the break in the lead. You'd be pretty disappointed if you backed Italy to somehow be leading at halftime. Definitely because that one was one that didn't need to happen. Texas alone has more people than Oz, New Zealand and South Africa combined. Says Albert, Italy messing it up. Not the season I would have wanted. But appreciate all your streams, Hamish. Says zero connection. And yeah, you see the disappointment on Lamaro's face. Who's the best team? So number one ranked in the world at the moment is South Africa. If you are talking international, they've won the last two Rugby World Cups. One in 2019, one in 2023. A team that they have normally a pretty strong rivalry with is the All Blacks. They are the team from New Zealand that you said were a little bit crazy. And they are currently ranked number 2. Oh, and that kick has missed away to the side. So the score at halftime will be 12 points to 10 in favour of the Irish. When we look through at the rest of the rankings, currently Ireland are sitting in number 3. They went on a massive winning streak not too long ago. But unfortunately, they've got a little bit of a problem when it comes to Rugby World Cup and making it to the semi-final. But they are still a world-class side. France, they are in 4th and they're a real up-and-comer. They've always been relatively strong, but this current group of players with the youngsters that are coming through have definitely got a huge amount of potential. And then in terms of number 5, it is Argentina, side from South America that just seem to play with a lot of heart and passion, which often makes them a lot of people's second teams. Hopefully that was a relatively good description of those top 5. But yeah, halftime and the lead for the Irish. Something that didn't need to happen was that slap down from Lamaro. Just came back. Who scored our last Irish try? It was Andrew Porter who managed to run in the try. I mean, I'll get there still close enough if Italy decide to play 80 minutes. And that's the tricky part, is whether or not they'll be able to get that 80 minutes together. I'm rooting for Italy this time. Just love how much they've come in on recent years. South America plays it too. Cool. Cool. I thought it was an Aussie thing. Says total. So that might be AFL that you're thinking of, or the NRL, which is Rugby League. So this side of things, Rugby Union, which is the same type of format as the MLR and everything along those lines. But yeah, the Australians, they've got about 4 or so sports that they are extremely strong in. Rugby isn't as high up on the list, Union that is, but they do play Aussie rules. Thanks for the rankings, Hamish, says Sean. And we have got there, everyone plays to improve, says Mr. Marmite, and like the stream, says Tudray's there too. Anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We have still got 2 more games of the Six Nations that we are covering after this, one of which will be that massive matchup between the French and Scotland. And to be honest, the other massive matchup is the contest between England and Wales. They'll both want to do well. I'm literally like a week into this. Says Total Guerra. So yeah, hopefully we've given you a little bit of information that helps you in the right direction. But every single weekend, whether it is a Northern Hemisphere match, a Sevens contest, because we've been doing quite a bit of the Sevens as well, Super Rugby, which is the New Zealand, Australia, Fiji, Samoa, Tonga competition, the URC, which involves the European sides, and South Africa. Like, we do a lot of live streams over the weekend, so if you want to know anything or want to learn anything, people in the chat are absolutely awesome. We've got people from all around the world who do watch, so yeah, be sure to stick around. They should ban the Italian who got the card from eating pasta and pizza for the next 6 months, says JP. And we have got there, does USA have a team? They do. They're a little bit lower down in the rankings, but, you know, if a lot of people have said if you give them a bit of time and they get a little bit of funding towards their union side, like they are currently ranked 15th, but honestly, you know, give them a few years of the rugby growing and they could find themselves climbing up to a little bit closer to that top 10. But still a little bit more work to do. They did miss out on the last Rugby World Cup to Canada and Chile, so I think that took a little bit of a hit. But they are looking to host the Rugby World Cup a little bit later on in 2031, I believe it is, or it might even be 35. American Rugby is in progress, says Robert V. And we have got there, they should really play these final fixtures simultaneously, so no team has the advantage of knowing the early results, says Steve. I can see your point, but at the same time, like I think it would be very tricky to do. And I feel like a lot of teams would be slightly annoyed if, let's say, both sides are on about the same points. And yes, both of them would go out and try and absolutely get the bonus point. But maybe if you knew that you didn't need one, you'd play a slightly different game. What is a top 10? Top 10. I assume you because of the Kiwi accent, a bit hard to understand. You should wait till we talk about the thing on the back of the house, our deck. It's always a bit of fun. We have got there, I'm sure it was already said, but Ireland under 20 were beaten by Italy for a very first last night. So Ireland finished last, says Jimbo. And Ireland never made a semi-final of the Rugby World Cup. They can't get past that World Cup quarter-final, says Mornay. And didn't that happen in the infamous Argentina versus English match? Says Big Rig Joe. Is it a hard deck? Extremely hard. Not many around harder than the back of my house. The players just stood still because both teams benefited from the current score, says Big Rig Joe. And if Italy scored first in the second half, it'll be very interesting, says Banana Lucy. My old club team used a lot of former college American football players. They're rough around the edges, says Bill. Well, it's just a very different sport, isn't it? Like, yes, they both have a ball that's shaped in a relatively similar manner, but, you know, the plays in American football, we've seen one Union player in recent times go over, which was Lewis Rees-Zammit. But second half, just around the corner. We will get some stats to do with this one. One moment, we will go like that. And we will go like that as well. Hopefully we'll be able to get some statistics. The players just stood still because both teams benefited from the current score, says Big Rig Joe. And we have got there my old club. Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? I'm a little bit too high up. We have got there show off, says Kevin. I guess what I'm about to ask about, says Martin Meyer, probably rice prices, I would say, unless you've got a different type of grain that you're keeping an eye on. Can you beat David the Mod in tennis? I've tried tennis earlier on in terms of, like, we had to play it for school. I'm not terrible with a racket, but probably David would take me down. Definitely with a tennis pitcher, he probably knows the hidden, not so much the hidden, but the tips and tricks to be able to win a game out on the court. Prediction for you, DePont is heading for the NFL. Says Gunner time. Well, he's not heading anywhere for a little while. He's got an injury for now, but hopefully we'll be back before the end of the year. Ireland win percentage at the moment is 84%. Possession 52 in their favour. The Italians have had more attacking minutes with 8.6 compared to the 7.4 of the Irish. Metres gained, Italy have had more, 180 compared to the 120. I've also seen 4 line breaks for the Italians compared to the 1 of the Irish. 17 defenders beaten compared to the 8 of the Irish. And Ireland have had more handling errors, 11 to the 10. Yet somehow they lead at halftime. And the big one is that yellow card. Like, if that yellow card didn't happen, it can't be guaranteed that that try would have been scored. Ireland tackling at 80% compared to the 91% of Italy. Italy are just dominating them in the stats. Like, I know that it's been talked about a lot in terms of Ireland, and maybe they're not quite firing here, but, like, Italy have had a really strong start to this match. The American football offense and defensive players will be too fat, but where'd that go? But the linebackers and cornerbacks are the size of the rugby player. This is a cool sport. CS total. And yeah, there's some mammoth guys in those 4 picks for like certain sides. Like, I'm trying to think of who would be a big prop to have a look at. I mean, Tamaiti Williams, one of the bigger guys here in New Zealand, he's about 150 kgs, which is still small compared to some of those American football guys. And he's had a couple more tries when Italy down a man. And yeah, honestly, the yellow card could be the difference maker in this matchup. Lamaro going off for 10 minutes already. We have seen 1 try scored throughout the first minute of the yellow. Now we have there, caffeine, my only drug, says George. And green to keep it clean. I like it, says Mr. Marmite. How many rugby players in Italy compared to New Zealand, says Sean. I'll have to Google that one. How many rugby union players in Italy? So the Italians have got registered 82,000 athlete memberships. So if we go here and we now look at New Zealand, they have 155,000. So Italy have around half the amount of guys registered as New Zealand do. And then if we just go, let's say someone like South Africa. How many have they got? They've got 434,000 registered players. And I know people will be curious as well, so we will look at Ireland. And they have got 95,000. So there you go. Those are some of the numbers. Lots of South Africans playing rugby in the US. And we have got there, I like Italy rugby style. It's good running rugby at the moment, says Joshua. And also, let's hope Italy can keep it up in the second. They tend to slack off a bit, says Lilia B. Yeah, a lot of people are, of course, pretty happy with what we've seen in the first half. Whereas the second half, Italy can honestly concede 30 points if they're not careful. Definitely with a man down. So you score a touchdown, that's 5 points, right? Field goals 2. Pretty much. And slightly different names for rugby union. So rather than a touchdown, a try is 5. And then your conversion is 2. But you also have the option of taking a penalty. And that is 3 points if someone's given away something. But yeah, try 5 points, conversion 2. That'll help you out a long way. We have got there, Italy, I would consider rugby has at least second sport to football. And also you play Madden. Not a huge amount. I used to play it a bit, but I found myself being very repetitive just because I'd always go for the same play over and over. And we have got there, if I go rugby in the USA or go play rugby in the USA, I'll be a god. That's how far the USA is from being competitive in 15-man rugby. So JP, some of those guys in the MLR are really great athletes though. And that's one benefit that the USA have. They've got a huge athlete pool that if they can convert a few more players over, they will be dangerous. It's just trying to get there. 5 is a lot for some guys. Says Kevin. And we have got there how many registered players in the US. Says Studs Race. That's actually a really good question. So we will look it up. In USA, they've got right, active players in 2021 was 56,000. But the total number of participants stood at 732,000. I'm not too sure whether or not that's correct. Yeah, I'm not too sure about the USA, just because that seems like two very different numbers. And that was also in 2021. USA has too many pro sports to take away attention, says Total. I love the fact I have no idea what's going on. It's pure violence, says Total. And MLR highlights are quite good on YouTube, says Eric. Yeah, there's some really entertaining games taking place in the US, which is great news because, of course, it is going to keep a few more eyes on it every once in a while. I do think hosting a Rugby World Cup will massively benefit the USA too. Am I your biggest Italian fan on here, says RIP? You'd be up there. I know we've got quite a few people who have supported Italy for a long time. A few Italians popping in every once in a while too. USA is very good at sports no one else plays, says JP. And what is the stadium called? The stadium is the Stadio Olimpico. And in Italy, so that is where all of their Six Nations games have been played. Of course, another entertaining game just around the corner. That will be the match between Wales and England. Another one to definitely keep an eye on. And then from there, it goes on to France versus Scotland. Now, the only downside for that match is we've got about an hour and probably 20-minute break in between those two contests. So we have to wait that little bit longer for getting straight back into the action. Italians can't build cars. They win the motorsports. Alfa Romeo, say no more, says Stefan. We have got the Love 500, says Bill. It's a stop-start in the NFL that gets me. Still a cool game. Yeah, it's not too bad. Honestly, for me, if I'm watching the NFL, I do normally watch it maybe an hour or so after kickoff so that I can skip through and get rid of all those kind of commercial breaks. Does the fans get into fights like the Brits do with soccer? Not as much. There are, of course, a few fans that break the mold, but overall, rugby fans, other than the exception of some on social media, are pretty respectful and just get behind their own team and try not, there's been more bad mouthing of other sides in the last, I'd say, 5 years or so since social media really took off, but yeah, it's still a game that a lot of people like to think that it's built on respect. And a lot of the players show that. Sometimes fans don't. But, overall, you could go to a stadium, meet someone from a different country who's watching and get along with them, How's Hamish? Did you watch the under 20 Wales-England game yesterday? Let's hope for the future Dragons. I did miss it, but I heard that Wales went all right. Rugby league has grown in the US, which they prefer. Las Vegas draws in big crowds. Says Blues Nate. And we have the agreed a game of respect, says Gunner. It streams on Stream Variety TV. It's just amazing, says Havza. And also, people who play it tend to be very respectful, says Lord Inquisitor. And Nate knows all about rugby in this country, says Bill. And how's it, Hamish? Did you watch the under? Oh no, I read that one, didn't I? If the Italians win this game, I will promise to never speak about Rice again. That's a bold claim. We have there. Look how rugby plays usually. Treat the ref and call him sir, says Big Rig Joe. Even that part of the game in the last 5 years or so has slightly gone away. There's been a lot more back chatting to referees than there ever used to be. Like, it used to be the ref gave the decision, you'd say, oh, even if I was annoyed, that's the decision that will stand. So you just, you get on with it. Now, this one just about going to Dutch. Matt Hansen close to the sideline, and that is going to be the penalty going the way of the Italians early on. I don't know stuff about Rice anyway. If the Italians win, I'll shave off all the hair on my body, I swear. So you're talking about your head as well, or just like your body hair? Because, two very different things, I guess. If Italy win, I will enjoy watching the Irish media trolls eat some humble. Says Cal Mack. A chance for the Italians to be able to kick this one towards the sideline. They've still got another 8 minutes remaining of this yellow card. Scott Miller has become a member. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated for your generosity. Of course, donating yesterday, or earlier on today, I should say. Lamato watching on, frustrated. He's just winked at the camera. Oh yeah, I've got the FYI. I played on a women's rugby team for almost 10 years, all through the 1980s. Best sport on the planet, the best time of my life, says Suzanne. Yeah, like, it is where you meet a lot of great people as well, whether that's on your team or against you. Now 20 metres out from the line, rolling maul attempted here from the Italians. Not making a huge amount of ground. We've got a new member, Steve V, as well. Thank you very much, mate. I'm due for a haircut. It's down to my knees, says Matthew. 22 metres out. They have a man disadvantage. Nice run from one Inacio Briggs, but the pass was forward. So it will now be the scrum feed for the Irish. This is what Italy were trying to avoid. People call Nigel Owen Sir on his YouTube vids. Says Studs Rays. Yeah, just drifting forward with the pass. If Italy win, I think I forget the beer and open some Middleton Rare whiskey. Says Patrick. And welcome in Steve. Salute. Says Blues Nate there too. The biggest thing for Italy, if they can avoid another try throughout this 10-minute period, that's the one massive factor in this contest. If they concede again, I think they're in trouble. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're 3 games back-to-back for the Six Nations today. Still plenty more that is going to be coming up in the future. But now they've got themselves the scrum feed here for the Irish, and they have managed to retain it. Hugo Keenan tackled, sitting about 35 metres out from the line. When Ireland win, I enjoy watching Media Troll eating a humble tin inch dick, says Kevin in there. However, their mum might never be English, says Jason. And that one's gone into Dutch. Italy chasing after this, looking like for a second they were considering going for the quick throw. Now Gibson Park can be the real impact player of this second 40 minutes. The next 2 fixtures are super hype, says JP. I'll be honest, like, this game has, I think, been better than some people anticipated. Some thought it was just going to be a one-sided affair and that the Irish were going to win it easily. But for now, at least, they have made it competitive, Italy. Down to the front, Federico Rosa. That looked like it might have been a knock-on. And it's going to be the advantage now in favour of Ireland again. Thank you all, says Steve V. And I love Saturday, says George. Right, the advantage for the knock-on is over. That is something Luke Pearce has done today, and that is really quick knock-on advantages. Gibson Park told to hurry up. Looks like another injury here for the Italians too. Federico Rosa, the man that stays down. Thanks for the stream. At my brother's Bulls party in the middle of nowhere, says Super Dad. Now 45 metres out from the line here. Ireland starting to use their backs again. Ringrose dragged down around the chest. Gibson Park goes to the right to Conan. Low tackle made by Manoncello again. Rugby says the most registered player or rugby players in order are France, England, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand. Nice break and run from Mac Hansen. Ball on the inside to Gary Ringrose. Springs back up to his feet. Paige Rello is now down with an injury. They are dropping like flies at the moment, the Italians. And they're running low on subs. We have there, welcome to our crazy Kiwi Lads whānau. Our family, sure to entertain you, Steve. And we have good there, I like Sunday night when I'm about to go to sleep and remember there's a test on Monday, good memories. And it's good that many channels have memberships available for barely £1, £2 per month. Really encourages people to get involved in communities. See, Stephen, now you've got access to those emojis as well. So be sure to use a few of them. And Italian transition. Our defence keeping them in here, says Thuds Race. And all credit to Italy. I thought they were lunch in Rome. Yeah, they've done much better than many people thought. They've had more line breaks, they've had more clean breaks, they've had more running meters, they've had a better tackle percentage. These are all stats that have happened throughout that first half. Looks like Stephen Varney about to make his way on. That is going to be to replace Paige Rello, who sadly has got an injury too. Like if you're Italy, you're probably glad this is the last game, because or else you'd have to make like 5 changes just due to injuries heading into the next match. Luckily for them, it is quite a wee way in the future. A cat laying on top of me, difficult to type. Says George, is your cat, you mentioned about the hoodie earlier on, is it maybe referring to your cat then? But now, sitting 7 metres out from their own line here for the Italians. Great counter-ruck from Ireland. That's going to put them in the perfect position to be able to get a try, or at least get something going forward. Caelan Doris, quick hands to James Ryan. Oh, he's fumbled it. They will go back for the original penalty. Great scramble defence again from the Italians. Oh. Right, Luke Pearce is not happy with Ireland here. Pretty sure he's knocked it on, says the referee. On field, no try, but they just want to check this again here. I've heard Mr. Ginster is going a goal for Plymouth next year. Because nothing gets past E, says Steve V. And we have got the Cornish Celts, not Anglo Saxon. Oh. Sorry, Celts, I should say. Yeah, and then it's dropped by James Lowe as well. So I'm not sure what they actually thought they had done there, Ireland, other than fumbled a massive try opportunity. Caelan Doris just getting his pass wrong. So it did go in behind the man he was aiming at. And Lowell says Lord Inquisitor. Okay, I think Doris is trying to say that he's not allowed to kick the ball there, Gardrisi. But they're just checking to see whether or not he is legal. Oh. But number 1, I don't think is allowed to get in the way of the try-scoring chance. So he's made 1 tackle. Then from there, he's lying down. He does help. So the ball's not down. So I think they're just checking whether or not. Okay, they just are checking the actions of blue 1 again. So this is whether or not it counts as, because he's on the ground, he's never got back to his feet. So in a way, it's like playing the ball from. To be fair, he's tried to knee the ball out of the hands of James Ryan. That was a bit of an interesting choice. No, I see that from that angle looks worse. Fischetti has come into it trying to knee it out of their hands. Okay. Right, so the refs are all talking. The players are coming in. So Luke Pearce has pretty much said it doesn't look great, but like it's still going to be going back for the advantage. Yeah, it doesn't look great, but nothing too bad. And we have got there, can't believe the score, only 2 points, says Ruth. Yeah, another 2 minutes remaining of that yellow card of the Italians too. So this is a massive moment in the game. If we do see Italy concede, could be the end of them. 34 minutes left. They've already had to make, I believe it's 4 subs due to all being injuries. And we have there, hypothetically, if Ireland lose this, Do they just drop to 10th place in the world rankings? They would drop to 4th. They go below France at this point in time. But yeah, if Italy win this game by anything less than, I think it's 15 points, they don't actually get to gain anything in terms of the overall rankings too, but that one now is a try. Rolling maul. So it's illegal because it's not intentional, not a penalty. Okay, says Suds Race. And also Ireland need more points to have a chance at the title today. I thought they'd be throwing the kitchen sink by now. I think they realise that just getting a bonus point win here is as much as they can do. Points differential, no one's catching France. Scotland would have to win that game by about, I think it was 50 points or 40 points or something. Which isn't, well, it's in France, so some would say it is impossible. Of course, anything can be possible, you never know, but it would be pretty tough to do. Ireland managing to score, so that is now the second try during the yellow card period. Will they be able to get one more? And we have got there, try, says David the Mod. Scotland are going to lose by 40 or 50 points, says JP. And the kick has just missed away to the side for Crowley. It's going to make it, after 48 minutes, 17 points to 10. So still only split by a converted try. Doing all right against 15 players, 14 out there, says Blues Nate. Oh no, sorry, Dan Sheehan actually got that last try for the Irish, and they've just mentioned it during that 10 minutes. Oh, that looked ugly. And I think they're going to check this. Right. This is normally bad when they check something this quickly. They're going upstairs. Right, it's a yellow card threshold already by the sounds of it. The Italians were just about to be back to 15. And now they've gone out there. Ross Vincent might have just got himself sent off. He's going to be able to high-five Lamaro as he goes past him. TMO put in the work tonight. Italy done fairly well in this yellow card. Uh-oh, says Suds Race. Right, they're checking to see if it's yellow card. Yeah, that's head on head. Ross Vincent, nowhere near enough dipping. Probably going to be 10 minutes, if not more. So now another yellow card for the Italians. Honestly, own worst enemy at this point. They've made two dumb decisions that has pretty much taken them out of this contest. I wonder if that will be upgraded. Yeah, it's going to be interesting because it was head on head and there was force behind it from Ross Vincent. Hamish was injured. So for the Italians, we have seen 4 injuries from their starting lineup. Sebastian Negri, Lorenzo Cannoni, Dino Lamb, and Martin Pagerello as the other man who was injured. That's a yellow, says Birdie V. So yeah, he will make his way from the field. They are now back to 14, the Italians, as another player has just made his way on. Fish and cups, says Craig. And good grief, Italian injuries, says Claudette there too. Oh, okay, one of the commentators has just said the referee actually could have given a red straight away there. And you have got the good grief, Italian injury, says Claudette. A nice attack and run forward from Caelan Doris. If yellow, or it's yellow if you're a bot captain, says Suds Race. Good run from Joe McCarthy. Recently made his way on. And this is where Ireland will be able to really have the advantage later on in the contest. They will have a lot more fresh legs, as they haven't had to make changes due to those injuries. Now Gibson Park goes back there to Tyg Byrne. Henshaw passes across to Mac Hansen. Tries to spin his way through. Gibson Park pick and go. Now off to Josh Van den Flair. Pops it up. Oh, rush defence. That's going to be a knock on from the Irish. In fact, I think it was more of a passing attempt from Doris. We've seen Angus won on the Irish and was automatically red. Says Mr. Orland, South Africa has 1,000 full-time professional rugby players compared to France with 1,400. Says Albert. And we have got there Marmite DuPont's kneecaps are bigger than your thighs. Can you grow your, I get you can grow your, legs around your kneecap, but does your kneecap change in size? I guess it would if you're eating enough food, maybe. Right. Peter O'Mahony about to make his way onto the field. There are about to be tears in the stands by the looks of it too. as this man is about to have his last appearance for the Irish. And Bro says, Damo, welcome in, mate. Hope you're doing extremely well. But you would think this game was at the Aviva, the amount of Irish supporters who are cheering for Omani already. He's not quite on the field, though. And POM coming on. A time for more Italian pain, says Bill. But now, the Italians are in possession. And good low tackle made by this Irish defence. Looks like they are setting up for the box kick. We have got there. I've been away for a while. Please tell me what countries have to win, which games to win or lose. So pretty much, if Ireland win this game, even without a bonus point, they will go to first place. Then if England beat Wales, they will go to first place. And then if France beat Scotland, they will go to first place and win the Six Nations. That's not the best kick from Tommaso Allen. Had a little bit of a fumble inside of his own 22. Felt the pressure. Does kick it out. Everyone has something to play for except Scotland. Says Big Rig. Right, Peter Omani now will make his way onto the field for the very last time for the Irish. The crowd are loud at the Stadio Olimpico. And the big round of applause for Peter Omani. We have got there my Afrikaner boss. Remembered him well, as he might have scored the winning try at the first game in the Millennium Stadium. Yeah, a lot of people still know that the Principality Stadium as the Millennium, don't they? Josh Van Flair, the man who he actually replaced. Spooky Island at its best, says Sherlock. Now Dan Sheehan, breaking off the back, already got 2 tries in this contest. Wouldn't mind a third. Gives him Park. Goes to the right. To Caelan Doris. Scotland still has a dinosaur. Not many people have a dinosaur, says Mr. Marmite. Now off to the right. They are just waiting to find out whether or not that yellow card will be upgraded. Sam Kane on the field, just getting fan of Peter Omani. And as DuPont playing later, he is not, no, he is injured for 6 to 8 months after the game up against the Irish. Gibson Park goes to the left. Ireland still about 15 metres from the line. If France gets a losing bonus point to win the tournament, assuming both England and Ireland get bonus point later today. See 0 1 moment. Hanson is only 5 metres out. We'll show you the table in a very short moment. Gibson Park going around the side. Shut down by Fischietti. Can Ireland strike again here? Getting close. 2 metres out. The crowd cheering once again. Ireland looking for that bonus point, which would take them up to 19 on the board. But yeah, this is how it sits at the moment. So if France were to get a win without the bonus point, they would still win, even if England got the bonus point due to points differential being absolutely massive. So the only way France don't win the Six Nations is if they lose. But that is going to be a try for Ireland, passing out the back line. I think it was Garbisi went for the big diving leap to try and stop it from being passed out wide. But that is the bonus point now for the Irish. And once again, the Italian yellow card has heavily cost them. And we have got there which scenario is likely, the croissants or the fish and chips, lads, says Katzenell. Even if Ireland finished third and England win, or England second, winning Triple Crown would still mean a better tournament for Ireland, says Patrick. And most dinosaurs work in the EU Commission these days, says Stevie. All right, we're going to find out about the decision. Has it been upgraded to a red? Wait, no, sorry. There's actually a no try here. It's going to be a knock on. So Ireland try will be disallowed. Luke TMO Pierce says Bill, although he's just, like, this time he's just been told by the TMO. I'm not sure who it was who's in the TMO box for this game, but it's going to be no try. Game over. Italy put up a fight for 40 minutes, says Cal Mack. Right, they're just queuing it up so that they can show it on the big screen. But yeah, it does sound like there was a knock on from Doris. Okay, so they've said that it's travelled forward. From that angle, it didn't look like Doris got to it. But they've got another angle here that shows it did go forward off his fingers. And that isn't a knock on. See, as Bill, from this other angle, it does show the knock on though. Geez, how many phases back is that? Says Studs Rays. Yeah, about 5 phases, I think it was. They've gone back for that one. But was there also a knock on from Lamaro beforehand? Right, we're seeing a different angle now. You see, I would like to see whether or not Lamaro knocked it on first. It doesn't change the fact that it's still going to be no try. But did that come off the Lamaro hand as he was in the process of making the tackle? I feel like that's one that I would have liked to see once or twice more. But that is going to be no try, which does mean the Irish are yet to get their bonus point, back to 17 points to 10. Says Richard. Potential knock on. Says Birdie V, and I hate to admit it's a knock on. Says Patrick. Oh, and with the stoppage, we will get the information about the red card, or the red card that could happen. Is there a limit of how far back they can go? It's upgraded to a red card for the Italians, so they will be down a man for 20 minutes now. But there used to be a limit, which involved going back, I believe it was 2 phases. You're allowed to go back for a knock-on. Then, of course, there was that controversy in the game between New Zealand and South Africa where they went back more than the 2 phases. So then they went and changed the rule so that it can be as long as the whole process has gone on, pretty much since the last penalty or last stoppage, they are allowed to find it. But, of course, kind of some referees, if it was too far back, would just leave it type thing. And no try, says Birdie V. It's okay, we will be playing 14 for the rest of the game, although only for the next 12 minutes, seeing as 20-minute red cards for the Six Nations. 1 try, and it says Cal Mack. Yeah, Italy have certainly made it even more of a mountain for them to climb. And we have got their hurry up Ireland, says Craig. And if Italy want to have any chances of winning, they've got to score now. And yes, Bundy on. Says Patrick in there too. And looks like a couple more changes. Spagnolo makes his way on. And that is going to be also Ziliocchi. And Bundyaki. He makes his way on for the Irish too. Look at there, the referral goes on to the red. And Bundy on, yep. And I thought All Blacks got red cards. Oh, I thought only All Blacks got red cards, says David the Mod. And JP is English today. Who's on charge of the scoreboard, running ahead of himself, says Bruce. Yeah, it is just an online one. As the try was initially awarded, but of course going upstairs they had to check it. That's going to be an advantage. Italy getting in a breakdown. Hands were down and then scoop the ball back. League 2 champions 2017 to 18. We have got there Hamish. My auntie thinks I'm better looking than you. Jealous, says RIP. Not really, but it's nice to know that your auntie thinks you're attractive. It's a interesting one. We have got there when South Africa join the Six Nations. We will bring a real competition to this boring tournament, says Dashen. Although it's been talked about a lot, and a majority of people, including South Africans that we've talked to, don't want to join the Six Nations. So, yeah, it'll be interesting if they ever do. But I guess you're probably the perfect person to ask, why do you want to join the Six Nations? What about it is intriguing? Is it because you want to play the European sides more? Is it the time zones? Is it the fact that you don't want to be in the Rugby Championship anymore? I know that South Africa, with the exception of the last one, haven't won too many Rugby Championships as of late. They love the World Cup, though, of course. That's going to be a great try for Dan Sheehan. And it's going to be a great try and the hat-trick. We have got there 23 minutes plus stoppages now, says Steve V. And that is the try for Ireland, and that is now the bonus point. I'd rather the Georgians, says Bill. Your auntie is a liar, says Kevin. And Dan Sheehan back at his best. Yeah, he's had a fantastic game here. Being heavily involved. And great bit of work from Matt Hansen out wide. This game is now becoming boring. I like how you had to put that the last time. Then the try was disallowed. So then we were back to, I guess, not so boring. And now that the try has been scored again, now we're back to boring, apparently. We have got there, take that back, Kevin, says RIP, and beauty from Hanson, says Bill. So with the 20-minute red card, does that leave them with one less replacement on the bench, since that player isn't allowed to come back on? So pretty much after the 20 minutes, we'll see a new player be able to make his way onto the field, and I believe that would be, in this case, Leonardo Marin. But, yeah, it just means that the player who got red carded isn't allowed to return. I think there's more money in the Six Nations, says Zero. And the other thing we were asking about, of course, is, so are you kicking a team out, or are you making it the 7 nations? Are you adding another team and making it the 8 nations? Because all of the Six Nation sides, of course, have a little bit of say in what happens in the comp. So I can't imagine any of those rugby nations would give up their spot so that their rugby can just go completely downhill. We have there more games in the Six Nations, better time zones, except for New Zealand, a much better competition. More games in the Six Nations. So they would be playing 6 matches. In the Rugby Championship, they also play 6. So it would be same amount if they were to make it the 7 nations. Unless they kept it a 6, then they'd actually play less rugby. For the Box to join the Six Nations would be nuts. They have ample opportunity to play the European sides in other competitions, says Stefan. I want to be in the Rugby Championship. If South Africa aren't playing, I back New Zealand. That's the ultimate game for me. New Zealand play 8 games in South Africa next year, 3 tests. And we have got there, I want South Africa to dominate the North because they think they can play rugby. But they can't. Are they not tough enough, says Darshin? But they're playing in the URC at the moment. So, so you'd rather give up your spot in the Southern Hemisphere comp to go north and win those games? The thing is, they're in the European Champions Cup as well. They've got opportunities to be able to still win competitions up north. I mean, we saw the Stormers win the URC. But now, Hugo Keenan going off to the right-hand side. Andrew Porter. Nice carry forward. And we have got there, South Africa should be included, says Claudette. And I agree with Stefan, says Steve V. And Money may make the call on South Africa and the Six Nations. So, but once again, are they expanding or are you kicking a side out? Because, all of the sides of the Six Nations are all in a part of a board type thing that all have relatively large amounts of influence on what happens for the competition. So, for any nation of the Six Nations to pretty much say, we're willing to give up our spot so that the competition can make more money, but our rugby nation won't, and more than likely will drop down in the rankings and we could kill off our game. For any side to say that would be completely unlikely. So the only way they do it is if they expand the competition. And then you pretty much licensing to, 7 or 8 nations. No one wants South Africa in the Six Nations. It's not happening. Says Jimbo, South Africa adds little to no value to other countries' bottom line. Says Bill. And South Africa can't even win the Rugby Championship. We don't need another Italy in the Six Nations, says Mr. Marmite. And just have a World Cup every year. Well, they're pretty much getting towards it. We're having a top 12 teams type of playoff thing now that has standings and everything. We need to play less rugby, not more. With provincial and guys playing overseas, joining Six Nations would do us no good, says Nicholas. Now 18 minutes remaining in this contest, scrum around the halfway line. The Italians still have a red card for another 5.5 minutes. It's just talking rumours right now. It's not our choices. It's the rugby bosses out there somewhere. It's finance driven at that level. But yeah, it would be intriguing. There would be potential that it kills rugby in multiple countries, but it could also help the game grow. You just don't know how it will happen. Now, Varney goes off to the right-hand side here. Italy, if they want any chance of winning this game, they need to score within the near future. Capuzio showing some pace down the wing. Chip him on. Mac Hansel waiting for the bounce of the ball. He drops it. And Italy score after a mistake from Ireland. Disaster, says Patrick. Yeah, that was a very poor moment for Mac Hansen. Just slipped through his hands. Yes, there was a bit of pressure, but all he had to do was force that ball down. And get in there, says Studs Rays. But this was inside of play, wasn't it, when Mac Hansen touched this ball? So I think, yeah, the bounce of the ball wasn't the best for him, and also he just didn't know what to do with it if he had it. He was probably going to try and run this ball into touch, and yeah, just slips through the fingertips, and Varney slides through, I should say, for the second Italian try. Now, I should mention, if Italy scored themselves 2 more tries, they would actually be close to winning, but they would also get themselves another point. I don't know, space left in the trophy case here in South Africa, says Martin Meyer. And yeah, I mean, even Rassia said, nah, don't want to. Bad idea. But like someone said earlier on, money talks, and if that's where they feel they have to go to get money, keep rugby alive, then I guess that's what they got to do. They'll just have to work out how to get in the comp without annoying everyone by kicking someone out. Because that's why relegation promotion hasn't been a thing in the Six Nations. It's not so much that they don't want to give those smaller sides the opportunity. It's more so that one of the top sides would lose massive amounts of revenue by getting dropped down to the other European league. We have good there, not going out without a fight, says Mr. Allin. Now, it's going to be kicked downfield and knocked back by the Italian, Stephen Varney, with possession yet again. Missed tackle coming. And the Italian crowd are starting to get behind their side. We heard a lot of chanting for Peter O'Mahony in Ireland before. But with a man advantage, the Irish in the last 5 minutes or so have not been able to get too much going. The Springboks is the world champions. Why they want to play in this bad Six Nations? What are you talking about, you English? Says Teeny. Although the one who did bring it up was from South Africa, who said that he wants them to go in and dominate. Ireland switch off too much at the end of the games, like gifting England a bonus point in round 1, says Bill. And that one bonus point that they gave to the English might actually be what lets the English finish 1 point ahead of them at the end of the comp. Sam Prendergast, he has made his way on. Ireland have already got the maximum points that they can get from this matchup, the total of 5. But the minimum that they could receive is 2 here, and that would happen if the Italians get themselves the victory. Now we have got there, I didn't like those Marvel Super Rugby jerseys, ugly and total money grab. How many rounds they're going to use them for? Just the Super Rugby Kids round. So they will be gone next week. I pass it on the outside. Chance out wide. Chasing after this one. Waiting for the bounce of the ball, and it has gone nicely. Hands away is the call there. Although now that I think about it, who didn't play out of the New Zealand sides? Did we see all of them play? In the end, we saw Highlanders, Hurricane. Oh no, we did see them all play. I was about to say, imagine if you had that jersey and one of the New Zealand sides didn't actually play with it. And we're over there, see how everyone can come to the Six Nations after they clean their bedroom. Says Kevin. And polish all those lovely World Cup trophies, I'm sure. And I really like South Africa, says Mr. Marmite. Quite a few people do, to be fair. I feel like it's not so much that people don't like South Africa, like the team. It seems to be that people don't like the supporters, but it's not all supporters from South Africa. Like, you meet a lot of great people out of SA. It's just, a few for every rugby nation do ruin it for the rest of them. Like it's the same with New Zealand. It's the same with Ireland, with England, with everywhere. Such a shame Cian Healy didn't make the matchday side, says Bill. He is in attendance, though, for this match, of course, also making his retirement. Now the Irish, they have got the ball yet again. Now across to Sam Prendergast. Looking for a bit of a counter ruck. Now off to the left again, Doris. The Irish will know that they need one more. They won't want to rest on their laurels here. Now off to the left, Peter O'Mahony. Got about 25 metres out from the line. The South Africans I know are incredible. The online ones are not so much, says Bill. Back across to the right. Just trying to lure Italy into making a bad defensive play, but that's another knock on from the Irish and scrum feed for the Italians, and they will also now be back to 15. That's the Italians 17 I called. Now the Irish will score an unconverted try, and that will be the game, says Neville. And where did the South African Six Nations idea come from? I get the money, but it makes no sense at the moment. In my opinion, they are a Southern Hemisphere side and belong against that only. Says, I think it is since they went into the URC that people have kind of said, well, they're playing up against those European teams anyway. So I think that's where the speculation or rumours did start. Most of the people who have visited South Africa do. I run the odd surf tour and never had anybody hating it. Some of the comments from our supporters are inane. I will concede, says Nicholas. Did you see any of the Rush Hour movies? I have not, no. But still, 11 minutes left on the clock. We'll have a quick look at the website. So 84% chance that Ireland were going to win at halftime. Now it's 94%. Now remembering, if Italy score a converted try, they're in the lead in this match. If they don't convert, they would be drawing. Now, they did cause an upset last year when they drew with the French in a game that they should have won, but they missed the kick. This one at the moment's got a little bit of that feeling. Thought South Africa and the URC made no sense too. But there we are, says Robert. And now ready for the scrum feed. South Africa Whanau's all good. They're bringing in the numbers. Thanks to them, eh? Kiwi lads. Says the Blues, Nate. Yeah, we've had a massive viewership from South Africa over the last few years. Monogella with a nice attack and run. Italy sitting about 30 metres out from their own line, going to the short side of Stephen Varney. Got themselves a fair share of clean breaks throughout this match too. We have got there, come on Italy, says Robert. And Viva Italia, says Hilton. Chasing after this will be Monty Ioane lining up the high ball. Another knock on from Ireland. That was knocked on by Hansen, was it not? As he grabbed it down the sideline. I'm sure that ball came out of his hands. And I think there was also the knock on from his teammate too. Like the commentators have just said, that's worked out perfectly for Ireland. Surely they have to check this one, don't they? The problem with South Africa is they throw the toys out the pram every time they lose, says David. Well. Look at the Italians pushing Ireland with 14 men, although they are back to 15 now. They're just showing the 3 tries that Sheehan has managed to get for himself. Right, referees just said hold on. I wonder if that is because they're checking something. Or whether it is perhaps that they are just checking that knock. They have not. So instead it's going to be the Italians with the ball inside of their own 22. Man in Zomzet has been charged with stealing combine harvesters. He got bail. It's about your third joke of the day, isn't it, Steve? I do enjoy a dad joke. Right. The ball is out now. Good clearing kick from the Italians. Ireland seems to have lost their sharp edge this season. It's going to be France with the Six Nations, says Stefan. And so much knock on, says Bandito. It'll be interesting watching South Africa struggle week in, week out with unbiased referees, though, says Akaris. Our ball's going to be fed in for the Italians. For the Irish. Wasn't the straightest throw, but because it was uncontested, that is allowed. Peter O'Mahony doesn't quite get the offload. Connor Murray. Italy still well and truly in this game. But if they concede now, you'd have to say their day is done. Mac Hansen pass on the outside. Peter O'Mahony. Huge amount of experience for that man trying to score in his last ever game. I've made all 5 bad jokes, or at least 5 bad jokes. Here's Kevin now passed out wide for James Lowe. 1-on-1 with Capuzzo. Gets rid of him. Somehow keeps the ball alive. That is sensational. Right, the flag is up from the touch judge. Connor Murray's doing the whole finger wagging in his face going, no. We need to check it. And I think that is a try. I think the gloss has gone off Irish rugby in the last bit, says Nicholas. Right, James Lowe. I think he somehow stayed in the field of play here. Unless this step. He's fine. Oh, that's close. Oh, that's closer. But I think somehow he might have just stayed in. So that's close. That's close. That's in. That's not out. So that will be, I believe, a try for the Irish. No. They've decided it's no try because the official had his flag up. Surely you can overrule a touch judge. If the TMO's out here overruling the main referee in a contest, touch judge normally all his job is to put it up, and James Lowe is not happy as he has done the twinkle toes and a half, somehow staying in. Like, I can understand why the referee thought it was out, right? But you can overrule it. You know? You're not, like, on-field decision was out, but check it. But now Ireland in possession. Benefit of the doubt. Benefit of the doubt normally works when like, you know, when the TMO doesn't look at it. I was also under that impression. And now Italy, I mean, the door's wide open, 6 minutes remaining for them to be able to score a converted try, and that would win them this match. Closer than, it was a try, says Cal Mack. And good grief. What are they going to get this refereeing fiasco sorted, says Stefan? That's going to be a new advantage in favour of the Irish. That is for a knock-on against the Italian. And maybe the sideline ref is blind, lol, says Danny. Oh, sorry, that was actually David. Did Italy get a red card? They did, but the 20-minute period has been played out, so now they are back to 15. Sideline ref is Irish. No, surely he's Italian because it was against the Irish. And Lowe was in, says Claus. Yeah, in by, honestly, quite a bit. Unless they're trying to say because his foot was, like, his toes were in, but his foot was over the line, but off the ground. Normally that's considered as not out, though. But, yeah, the fact that apparently a touch judge decision is stronger than the main referee and the TMO is a little bit concerning. But we move on. 5 minutes left. The Italians still feel they are in with a shot. James Lowe just having a bit of a chat here. Okay, he's just having a chat with them here, James Lowe. They're going to show it again. Stays in. And really does well to keep that ball alive. Referee, big smile on his face on the sideline. Wonder what was said from James Lowe there to him. I'm biased, so I can't make a call on Lowe, but your honest opinion. So is in like as a player or is in that try just then? A forward pass in the lead up to the try anyway, says Suds Rays. And Ireland is losing their edge, says Albert. Oh, they are still leading with 5 minutes remaining. Italy as well. We need to give them a lot of credit here because they've had some brilliant numbers throughout this match. Can we please check that? Can the TMO not overrule a touch judge? Apparently not, because they said that the on-field decision was out from the touch judge, so they couldn't overrule it. Or I don't know what the reasoning was, because if they looked at it, they would have seen it wasn't out, which they did, but they didn't change it. Now James Lowe, big shot on him by Mononcello. Now good tackle on Hansen. Capozzo making the tackle on him, 22 metres out. Now Prendergast goes off to Tig Furlong to Bundy Arkey. Good defence here. Bundy please is the comment from Luke Pearce. I don't know what he was doing in the breakdown. But Tig Furlong looking for the turnover was Mikel Amaro. I went to Dublin in 2009, enjoyed it. Did feel expensive for Guinness, so quickly switched to the Beamish. That one's gone into touch for the Irish again. And Italy's best performance. Honestly, I think it's like, if you consider the fact that they've also had a red card and a yellow card. So they've had 30 minutes where they've been without 15 men. And the fact that they are only down by 5. And like some of their numbers have been insane. throughout this game. Like, if you had these type of numbers against other sides, you'd win the contest. You know, they've had 261 metres gained. They've had 5 line breaks, 22 defenders beaten. Although they have had 16 handling errors compared to the Irish, 21. So there's been a lot of drop balls throughout this game. A little bit of a miscommunication at the back from Ireland, but Mac Hansen does manage to clean it up. Italy is so close, says Bandito. Yeah, Ireland definitely need another try or points of some sort, or else the Italians will still believe they can get one last try. That was knocked on the ground from the Italians. Luke Pearce right in front of him says play on. This game's starting to get a bit interesting. And the final moments, nice run forward from the Italians. Missed tackle into the 22. Chance with 2.5 minutes remaining on the clock. And Wales may be encouraged by this outcome, says Robert. And if the Italians can somehow win this game, it will make it only a 2-horse race in the Six Nations, which will benefit France and England. This move all started with that knock-on on the ground. James Lowe manages to get the steal for Ireland, though. Now, 100 seconds left on the clock. Ireland, I think they still have to clear this ball. They're going to pass it back into their 22. McCarthy tackled. And now I believe this one is allowed to be kicked into touch on the full from Murray. And now kicked out by Connor Murray. Capuzzo will take it quickly. Now on the halfway line, Ireland will have to defend with everything they've got here. But one thing is for sure, they have been in a contest with the Italians today. Monty Ioane, tackled by Tyke Furlong, trying to get the turnover, was the young 17. One Ignacio Brex picks it up nicely. 1 minute left. Dance only one. But he won't change it because it performed very well 10 minutes 5 years ago. Says Steve V. France has their destiny in their own hands. Yeah, is this a sign of things to come for this weekend? Are we going to see close games? England versus Wales has potential of being close. France versus Scotland, it would be a massive one if the Scottish could somehow cause an upset. Here comes Capuzzo. Just ankle tapped. He passes the ball into touch. And he is so frustrated as he knows that might have just been the moment. This is embarrassing. Should be beat Italy comfortably. Italy played well. Yeah, Italy have played phenomenally throughout this game. Don't you dare say that, says Gerv Bills. And we have got the Ireland looking sloppy, knocking on. Yeah, they've had a lot of knock-ons throughout this match. Now, I should mention the next game that we are covering, ladies and gents. Oh, what are we checking now? We're checking the TMO decision. Why couldn't we check that for the last try that was disallowed? Checking the actions. Oh, okay, it's actually against Italy here. And this is interesting. They've actually said it was before Italy took their quick line-out throw about a minute and a half ago, but they didn't have the picture then. So if Italy had scored here, would they have gone back like 3 minutes to check that? Yeah, it is an illegal clean-out on Piero Mani, or at least he dropped his body onto the head. Just need France to score, says Jabils. And bro, I'm wide open. Well, the Italians can hold their heads up, says Calmac. Well done, Italy. Win or lose. Yeah, there was no need to clean out Piero Mani the way that Nicotera has there. And it's going to be a third yellow card for the Italians. The Irish team will not give South Africa any headaches, says Monet Lagrange. There's 3 phases they can go back, says Jabils. Yeah, that was a lot more than 3 phases. We had a quick throw from after that, and then the Italians went the whole width of the field to pass it out to the other side. Let it go, too much refereeing, says John. Right, they're in their own half here, Ireland, but they will have themselves the penalty that they will be able to put this one into touch if they go back that far to check pre-events to every incident. We all have beards regardless of when we have shaved before the game ends, says Steve V. And they gave us a headache last year, Mornay, says Nicholas. So what does that mean for the World Cup final? Or for a World Cup final on that Irish no try? Are we sticking with that sideline rest decision? Yeah, exactly. It definitely makes them a bit nervous. Right, the kick into touch here. Ireland will claim the win. as to by the time they made their decision, it was long enough that they were allowed to kick the ball out, but they have been tested here. Really strong competition finish for the Italians. The Irish, they've had to work hard. I think there was some words exchanged there between, I think it would have been Canoni. In fact, no, sorry, it would have been Federico Ruse and Omani afterwards, and I think that would have been just wishing them all the best, seeing as this is Omani's last game for the Irish. Is there a law that states how many phases DMO ref can go back, says Francois. So it actually changed recently, and it became as far back as the last stoppage, because, like, of course, it happened in, I think it was actually that World Cup final, wasn't it? How New Zealand knocked the ball on, and the rule was you're allowed to go back 2 phases or 3 phases, and they went back further to find that knock on to disallow the try. So from there, World Rugby, they pretty much made it so that at one point it was 3, as they said that 2 wasn't enough, and then from there it's now just until the last stoppage, pretty much. And we have got there, well done Italy, awesome, says Robert Wood. Is Rugby 25 any good? It's getting better, but it's still a little bit broken, so I'd still give it a bit more time before buying it, but yeah, it's not a mile off. But nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in, ladies and gents. Ireland now sitting top of the table. We will, of course, have that updated table on the next live stream, which is going to be England versus Wales, taking place in only around, I believe it is 23 minutes time till we start the live stream, but 33 minutes until the kickoff of that match. But nonetheless, thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all for the next one.